Hey everybody, this is James Joseph from the Sample Company. Today we're going to do a walkthrough of Bowed Textures Volume 1 for Omnisphere. Let's just start right into this with Bark Cello Scrub. I want to get to the sounds as soon as possible because I think I can explain things as we go. So let's listen to that and then I'll tell you more about why it's called Scrub at the end of this. All right, all of these patches are very well laid out as far as what the mod wheel is doing for you. Every single patch is either controlling filters or effects. And in this case, anything that's called scrub, the mod wheel is controlling within the Steam engine the granular parameters for that patch. Essentially, what you're getting is it's scrubbing through the sound source file and freezing a different section of that file because the mod wheel has 1 through 20 1 through 127. You're almost getting 127 different tones within the same patch that you're able to stop the mod wheel on and use that for your scene or use that for your for a specific moment and kind of play the mod wheel to what you're watching, which is just great for getting more emotion out of something that otherwise would be static. So, same patch, but let me show you how that works. Mod wheel. And we can just stop there, and that's a different tone. Or we can keep going. That's kind of cool at the end right there. All right, let's start at Abandoned Island. And we're not going to have enough time for all of these because there are 107, I believe, 100 plus patches in this library. So that would take a long time. Okay, mod wheel on that one, obviously controlling, among other things, the filter cutoff and giving you that dark back in the mix feel. Maybe there's dialogue happening and then opening it up, getting more bow sound. Let's go down to Alien Bow Breather H. And if you see in the library A, B, C, D, E, these are all using different samples, but they're being affected in a similar way. So here's H. I kind of want to go back to this rise. I like this one a lot. I don't know why. Um, but it also lets you know in the description right here different creative ways that you might want to play it. And it gives you a little insight. Here we go. I love that. Um, Okay, skipping around, we did bark cello. This barely bowed, I like these barely bowed ones. They're a little bit prettier and slightly more melodic, but you still get a lot of the organic textures going on. Okay, A, B, and C of that are pretty similar, different bowings. Scrub again would be the same concept, but the mod wheel, instead of being filter, now the mod wheel is going to scrub through the source file. So you can tell texturally it's very similar, but we might want to find maybe that little spot right there. And you can just play around with it. You can leave it, or you can play around with it as you watch what's going on screen. All right, so we've done a lot of textures in here. There are a couple more traditional things. Bass and cello staccato. I like the front end attack on that. It sounds great as a layer. Sounds great by itself, but specifically in a big orchestra, you kind of lose some of that up close flavor. And it's good to just be able to introduce that back in almost like a close mic. Um, let's see. Prehistoric Trims. Very signature, cool, almost Jurassic kind of sound. Uh, let's keep going, skipping around. Bouncing bows. This one's really creative. Cool. Bowed in nature. I think the reason why I called it bowed in nature is it sounds like as you play certain notes, and it's all of these patches, depending on where you play on the keyboard, different things start to happen. But some of these sound like crickets to me. Very cool as a layer. And a lot of these set the mood. They're the idea behind so many of these patches are just to hold down a drone and play a piano on top, or to blend in with some string sounds that you might have that you think these strings are playing the right parts, but it's lacking some feeling. So something like this one, bowing down the river, um, I would put this just on top of a uh, string quartet and subtly bringing it in and out when you need a little bit more interest. Okay, and we also have a secondary version of that with bowing down the river B. Let me see what else jumps out at me that I want to show you guys. Um, I really like these cello scrubs. I think there's some really interesting stuff in here. I mean, you could do that all day, all day. Electric cello drone. It's kind of a hybrid between a cello and a guitar. I believe this one is a Bode electric guitar. So more melodic than some of the other ones. Okay. A lot of these are really simple, these Xperia-based samples. What's special about these is are they it does the hit, kind of a stab, and then with the mod wheel, it's scrubbing through the sound, so you don't always have to have that same squeak at the beginning. You can also have just the round decay, and these work really well as basses, or you can almost use them as drum hits in a way, almost taiko sounding, but with the piano overtones. So those are cool. And then these ones do. It's a different sample on the front end, but the mod wheel freezes the sample instead of playing it all the way through. So you can do this sort of thing. And then you're frozen, unfreeze it, and go back to the original recording. So, and then frozen, and then back to the original. It's just a fun way to get some impact and pretty big payoff for a simple patch like that. Let's do Fiddle Through Tears, and this is kind of the overtone, fiddly overtone, almost sounds Middle Eastern in a way. All right. Let's see. Granular Celtasto from Hell. This should be interesting. I don't even remember this one. Yeah, that's great. I mean, that to me just says the room is spinning, some scene, something just happened that was crazy. You can really set a mood with that. We did grit cello already. Let's do what's this? Grunge cello longs. I like this because the texture of it is very it's all the parts of the cello that you are really hard to get out of a recording almost. So I love a lot of the string libraries that I have. Problems sometimes with them are um, they're so well recorded that you miss a little bit of that off-putting something is wrong here feeling. And what the grunge cello does and some of these other textures is it puts that back in, and you can kind of play with your faders during the mix of, okay, we want a little bit more, oh no, what's going on here? And you can just layer that in with a prettier version, or maybe an orchestra or something. Let's look at Hello Whirlpool. I really like this one, and I think the reason I like this patch a lot, it's a lot. It works really well for that. It's uplifting without being um, cheesy. I don't know what the word is. It's uplifting, but you're not overdoing it. The darker version just kind of takes some of the top off of it, lets it sit behind whatever is going on. Lost at Sea is neat. Let's look at that. And this is more sound design, more of an atmosphere. I've used this a lot before, just tucked in the background, constant throughout the whole track. Let's look at Native Beauty Scrub. Now this one's a scrub again, so the mod wheels, as I'm turning the mod wheel, you're getting a lot of different tones and sounds out of it. And somewhere around here is something that to me sounds like a flute. And that's where the name Native Beauty came from. It just sounds like early America. I don't know, Indians and just a whole world of sounds in that patch. Let's see, Oak Leaf Quartet. Mod wheel all the way up on that one, you get a major lift happening. And with all of these, A, B, and C. And sometimes what I like to do is when the biggest part happens in the track, go ahead and sometimes even just full mod wheel up, double the melody, and get all of that shimmering left to right interest going on around whatever else is happening in the track. Primal solo cello. I just love how you can hear every bit of the bow on that. Let's go to the Reef. Now, all of these are in the Reef series. Let's do Great Barrier, which means, again, they are completely different samples, but they're sharing some sort of common tonality. Which in this case, it sounds like steel drums and There's metallic in there, but there's also bowing in there. And you can hear how in the Kingman Reef, similar tone, but this one has a little bit more of a front end Rhodesy quality. What else do we have? Simple bowed acoustic. This one's pretty straightforward. Ghost Harmonic Scrub. I love this one. On this, the scrub really isn't that drastic, but you can find little moments in here. Like right there. A little squeak. And there's another kind of cool overtone. I think that's such a cool sound. Because honestly, I don't have anything in any other libraries that I have that has that just randomized a harmonic all around you sound. All right, simple piano bow. Let's do a trailer bow slap. Strings by the Ocean Side. I love that one. Winds and strings. Hopefully that gave you an idea of some of the things the library can offer you. On the website, there's a test kit that will give you 10 patches, 5 from volume 1 and 5 from volume 2 for free. So I recommend getting those for sure. And stay tuned to here and our social media channels for more walkthroughs and live streams and other ways that we're using these bowed texture libraries.